Today's episode of the Rough Drafts Podcast is brought to you by the newly updated sportsbook at unicorn.com. Unicorn has been a sponsor since the beginning, and this is honestly the best looking and most convenient the site has ever really been. Their new TV guide style layout has made finding and betting a breeze, and with a newly designed and intuitive bet slip, all the information and even access to multi-bets are at your fingertips. I've already gotten started with my LPL and LCK outrights, and even though it's only been a day into the regular season, KT has already let me down, but Unicorn won't. So check out unicorn.com, the world's premier esports betting site. Hello Internet, my name is Walter Ceades, Fedczuk, and welcome to the European prediction episode of the Rough Drafts Podcast. Quick one, it's going to be really fast, but we're going to go ahead and just finalize all of our predictions for the 2017 EU LCS Summer Split. They're going to be written in stone. You guys can make fun of us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Reddit, in the YouTube comments, on our Discord channel, on SoundCloud comments, because I think they do a comment system. In person, if you meet us. In game, I don't know where else you would potentially make fun of us for these things.
Carrier pigeon,
smoke signal, any of that jazz. And of course, it wouldn't be a Rough Drafts Podcast with Walter Ceades Fedczuk if I didn't also have my wonderful co-host and good friend, Chase, RedShirtKing Wassenar. Chase, are you ready to predict some predictions?
I am. I took a couple of risks here, and I cannot wait for the internet to be kind and understanding as the internet is wont to be. Let's do the thing, guys. Let's get there.
You read all the comments on the Cloud9 and Fnatic videos, right?
I'm aware.
Okay. I'm just gonna say. Just anyway.
No, they're great.
Yeah. But let's start. Let's start predicting some predictions. Chase, obviously, we're gonna start from the bottom and work our way to the top. Started at the bottom, now we're here. Yada, yada, yada. Joke. So, Chase, your 10th seed in Europe at the end of the split, gun to your head, is...
It's going to be the Mysterious Monkeys. They're just not ready yet. This is a very young, very raw team that's going to need some time to get things together, and I think that there are a lot of big question marks that still have to be answered. I think they're going to be a much better team than, say, Origin was. I think they're going to be a better team than Giants was. There's a reason they're in the league over those two teams. But I think that this is a raw team that will be exploited and taken advantage of quite a bit in Group B. That's why I have them at the 10th spot.
My 10th spot team is Ninjas in Pajamas because it has been so famously quoted. I think it's attributed to Impact, but whoever it was basically said in North America, the 3 native players matter more than the Koreans. Outside of like Trick and Expect, Koreans have not had the most, been the most successful in Europe, and I think the 3 European players that are going around, Prophet and Nagne, aren't very good.
Did you just forget Huni and Rainover existed?
Oh, yeah, Huni and Rainover, too. Wow. Sorry, Huni and Rainover. I forgot that.
Okay,
anyways, your 9th team, Chase.
Ninjas in Pajamas. I don't think they're going to be great. I have them as the worst team in Group A, but I do like Prophet a lot more than I think some people do. I think the guy's incredibly talented. I think he's been in their system for a while and was getting a lot of valuable reps and learning from a lot of very intelligent people. It's unfortunate that the European players around them are as weak as they are. But hey, maybe they'll go out and get the guys that they need in the offseason.
Yeah, speaking of getting guys in the offseason, my 9th team is Vitality because I hate watching this team. I'm punishing them for being consistently mediocre to consistently awful. And, please get them out of the LCS. I'm done. I'm over and done with this team. Chase, your 8th seed, please.
I mean, my 8th seed is Vitality. I now feel like I almost have to rush to their defense. I like signing Vander quite a bit. I like the Steelback Vander bot lane. I like Yamato Cannon quite a bit. The problem is I have no faith in either of their solo laners at this point in their career. And Joko's positioning mistakes are still pretty bad. I just think that this is a team that is not going to come together without significant growth from either one of their solo lanes, and I just don't see it from either of those players at this point. This is a team that I think will be very good heading into 2018 if they can get one really valuable guy in that spot, though. I like this bot lane. I like this coach. I hope they prove me wrong.
That's fair. My 8th seed is G2. I'm sorry. It's Mysterious Monkeys. And it's more an indictment on me just not liking Vitality at all and wanting to punish them for wasting my time over the last 2 splits. So, Mysterious Monkeys, I know this is going to be 100% wrong, but I really don't care. Chase, your 7th team.
The hate pick is glorious. I have number 7. I have Roccat. And I went back and forth on this a lot between them and Fnatic. I flip-flopped about 1,000 times. I think ultimately I have more faith in Fnatic and their team synergies and what they bring to the table than I do in Pride Stalker, which I think could be a huge concern, especially in the meta that we're about to enter. And given how much Maxlor's resurgence was, pivotal to Roccat making the leap in the second half of the season, I just don't see it without with Pride Stalker as things are right now. I think this will be a great development split. I can't wait to see 2018. I'm going to be a fan for life, and I hope that we get there. I will believe #set the rules. Let's keep it going. But right now I have
Chase. My 7th team is also Roccat. When hasn't it been a developmental split for Roccat over the past 2 years?
I don't know, the 2 splits where they were 1 series away from making Worlds.
I said past 2 years.
2015. They were 1 split away. Had they beaten Origin in that best of 5, they get through. I'm not letting this go. That was a great team. Sorry.
I mean, yeah,
I miss you, Roccat.
But I agree with everything you said. But out of these 4 teams, Roccat is the most likely to make the playoffs. I think just because Misfits and Fnatic could go either way. Like, they could completely fall apart, or they could be studs, like they were going into like the end of the last split. But yeah, I agree with Roccat at number 7. Chase, your 6th seed, please.
I'm taking Splice here, and I know that there's a chance that this comes back to haunt me. Certainly, this is a team that looked much better in summer of 2016 than they did in the spring. They have shown that they're capable of making those leaps. I have questions about their new coach. Obviously, that's something that's going to take an adjustment period. Don't know what impact he's going to be able to have in the short term and the long term. We're going to have to wait and see on that. And I think that, unfortunately, some of these players have started to get figured out a bit. I think Sencooks in particular is someone that's going to hold their potential back unless he takes a massive leap forward from what we saw last split. So they're my 6th seed.
My 6th seed is going to be the Misfits. I'm not entirely sold on this jungle change. This is more an indictment of I think Fnatic's better. I don't know. I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great about 3 through 6 in Europe, but I'm putting Misfits at the bottom because I don't trust him yet. Yeah, Chase, who's your 5 seed?
My 5 seed's Fnatic because I don't trust him yet, and I understand that. A lot of European fans, they're all in, they're ready to go. I love that passion. I love that intensity. I will always respect that. And certainly I respect the synergy and the communication and just the stability that Fnatic brings to the EULCS. I think that they got away with a lot of factors that I don't think will be in play with them over the course of a whole split. I think that they were at the right place at the right time. I think now teams are going to figure out some of those options, and we have to see where Dylan Falco ends up, because I haven't seen the guy that I've been told he's supposed to be for a while, and this is going to be his chance to really make that statement. Let's see if he does it. But for now, I have him at 5th. I like the 4 teams above him a little more.
That's fair. My 5th team is going to be Splice. I just think if the jungle shifts to more tanky control, oriented junglers, Trashy is one of the better tank players, Sejuani, Gragas, Rek'Sai in the European LCS, and I think that a lot of the other junglers on upper teams really will struggle if it goes to that kind of meta, so I'm banking on it, just like I've been banking on Nocturne returning to the meta since this podcast began.
It's true. That's true.
I've been predicting that for 3.5 years now. Chase, your 4th team.
My 4th team is going to be H2K. I like this H2K team. I thought they had an amazing regular season. I think it's unfortunate that the thing that people are going to remember about them is that one playoff series. And while they certainly deserve a lot of flack for how that playoff series played out, Let's not pretend like this was this guaranteed, oh yeah, H2K, we're clearly not that good, and here we are now. Like, H2K was great. They had an amazing regular season. Jankos is an incredible player. I thought every single one of those guys individually had seasons that were all pro caliber, whether you had them ultimately on your list or not. I thought they were all within the top 4 at their position, undoubtedly so.
Yes.
They're going to need to prove that they can adapt a little bit more than they did last split, but I think that the power and just ability to snowball games is something that is still very much a part of that team, and I think that's going to carry them far.
That's totally fair. My 4th team is Fnatic. I trust them more than I trust Splice and Misfits. And that's about it. Chase,
Fair.
Your 3rd seeded team.
This is where I get some people mad at me. I'm going to say the Unicorns of Love are at 3rd. I think the Unicorns of Love are a great team. I enjoyed what I saw from them last split. I think that there are concerns when it comes to their ability to make the kind of macro adjustments that you need to get past a team like G2. I thought they were exposed. I think that Hylissang's champion pool is something that concerns me. I'm worried that he has kind of been figured out to a large extent. His all go all the time is something that is as much a liability against certain teams as it is a benefit in that regard. I think that Exile did not have a great playoffs. I thought he took a significant step back from what we'd seen from him in the regular season. And I think in the regular season, he was still a guy that died too much for me. Obviously, I love Xerxes. Fedczuk earned his MVP season, even if I voted a different way. I think that there's a lot that's great about this team. Certainly their synergy, cohesion as a unit. You saw all those amazing social media videos. But I have them coming a little bit short to a team that you guys have probably been waiting for me to say for a while now. But I have them at 3rd. I like them a lot. I just like the next team a little bit more.
My 3rd team is H2K, and I think this is more out of necessity than anything else. They were a World semifinalist last summer. I think if this team doesn't make it to Worlds again, probably need to blow it up. And I think you might only keep Jankos. But if these 3 guys can't make it to Worlds again, and I mean probably Jankos and Odoamne, you're going to have some major question marks if you're, player management decision makers at H2K Gaming. Chase.
Yes.
Your 2nd team.
Put up the Misfits logo, man. Just put it up there.
You're an idiot.
It in. Look, you can say that all you want, and I'm sure a lot of people will.
Not going to happen.
But Misfits genuinely put out that press release saying that they believe that they're a top 2 team. And I believe that they're a top 2 team with the change they made. I think Maxlor is great. I thought Maxlor was a pivotal part of what made Roccat work. I think he makes his mid laner better significantly throughout his career. And I think that with Power of Evil, a guy who had an amazing split last split, he was my first team all mid laner vote. I think that's going to be awesome. I think that Hans Sama is much better geared to this meta than he was the previous meta. I think that Ignar is still a huge playmaker, and Alfari is only going to get better. He was a rookie last split. That's something where he still has room to grow. I think penciling him in and saying that we know exactly who he is a bad argument to make. Daku is the one thing that could hold this back. If I'm wrong about this prediction, I have a feeling I will be wrong because things like the pick and ban phase never got figured out because they weren't able to develop that second strategy. Right now, I'm banking on the fact that they do. I believe they get there. I like this Misfits team a lot. I think fixing communication issues will go a long, long way.
You know who I like a lot? The Unicorns of Love. They're my 2nd seed. Granted, they got crushed by G2 in the regular season, but they did take that finals to 4 games. That is improvement. I do think Exile can get better and more consistent. I think that Hylissang, the champion pool issues can sort themselves out. There will be meta shifts. There will be changes in champion pool. I think we'll get back to something that he's good at. Fedczuk continues to become a stud. And Xerxes, I felt, got robbed of a all-pro jungle spot. That kid legitimately was an MVP candidate. And all the voters that Riot put together are just blatantly wrong. Now, Chase, the number 1 team in Europe. Let's say it together. On my mark. 3, 2, 1. TSM.
G2. Stop it. How dare you. Look, hail to the king, man. G2, 3 times in a row. They are the defending champs. they're about to make a number 4. This team is really good at League of Legends. Expect has made a leap beyond what I thought he could do as a player. I love everything I've seen from him. I thought Trick, I was nervous about how he looked at MSI, but I think certainly within regional play, he's been dominant. Perks looked amazing last split, especially in the playoffs and the MSI. When the pressure was on, he looked great. I think Sven is the best AD carry in Europe. Well, at his best, he and Reckless are going to go back and forth for that title this season, just like they did last split. But I think he's amazing. Mithy's my only concern, and Mithy's still very good. So
here's the case against G2. Last time a European team looked really good against SKT and had their mid laner solo killing, they didn't look that great the following summer. Especially that mid laner, he definitely kind of trailed off once he kind of was dubbed solo killing faker and anything. So just a thought. Just a little bit of a thought. But those are our predictions, 1 through 10. We have G2 as the champions. Let us know your thoughts. Please, everyone, go to Chase's Twitter handle, @RedShirtKing, and tell him how absolutely mind-bogglingly wrong he is about Misfits. And, of course, you can follow me at Ceades_LOL to praise me in my guts for putting Unicorns of Love at second. Chase, go ahead. Give your final pitch of why they should not murder you for Misfits.
Look, you're welcome to @ me if you disagree. I have no problem with that. I welcome a whole slew of opinions. I think it's very safe to say Unicorns of Love G2. I think that is the easy path. I think that very rarely in Europe have we seen 2 teams make it to the finals again. In fact, this was the first time this split that we had 2 teams that had been to the finals before make it back, with both teams having already been to the LCS finals. It doesn't happen in Europe. Something shakes things up. And for me, the team that shook things up in a way that I think was a wholly positive and is in a meta that I believe that shift is purely in their favor, I think Misfits is that team. But people are going to say Fnatic. People are going to say it's going to be Unicorns of Love again. People are going to say it's Splice. I'm going to hear a lot of different arguments, and I don't think any of them are wrong. But only one of us is going to get proven right. And I'm taking that gamble. I'm willing to make a risk. Hopefully, even if you don't agree with me, you can at least respect that. I'm sure the comments will be great in that regard.
One last counter argument. Kakao was an all-pro top 3 jungler in Europe. Just going to throw that out there. Maxlore wasn't even close to the top of that list. So, the games start tomorrow. If you haven't checked out our EU Guest Alliance yet, go do that right now. Get yourself hyped up because, as Chase said, we're both going to be right when G2 wins, but one of us is going to be more right when we rewind all of this back at the end of the season. So until next time, goodbye, Internet.
You can follow the Rough Drafts Podcast on all your favorite social media sites. Twitter @RoughDraftsPod, Facebook.com/RoughDraftsPod, SoundCloud.com/esportsroughdrafts, YouTube.com/RoughDraftspodcast, as well as on iTunes by searching for the Rough Drafts Podcast. The Rough Drafts Podcast is supported by our lovely Patreons at patreon.com/RoughDraftsPod and by viewers like you. Thanks for listening, and goodbye, Internet.